J&R Sports Lounge. J&R Sports Lounge.
This is the J&R Sports Lounge. No scripts, no filters, just straight sports talk. Episode 8 starts right now. Welcome to the J&R Sports Lounge. I'm your host, Joe Huzar. This is my co-host, Randy Curry. There are a ton of sports going on this week, including the Masters happening right now as it's going on. Also, the NCAA title game, which happened a few days ago between Michigan and UConn, with Michigan, unfortunately, beating my Huskies. But before we get into some of our main topics, Randy, how you doing, buddy?
I'm good. You know, we're doing the show in the middle of the day. We haven't done that before. It's got a different vibe to it. I don't know if it looks different. Probably not. But anyway, I'm excited to do the show with you, talk a little bit about what we're going to talk about. Although I have to admit, I really don't know much about golf. I don't really think you do.
I don't either. If Jimmy Strip Club were here, he'd be able to help us out with some of this stuff. You know, I know the Masters is going on. It's one of the biggest sporting tournaments events really in the entire sporting year. I just don't get into it the way people do. Even my girlfriend, like we were in the kitchen yesterday, and it was like maybe like 7 p.m. Like we're about to start making dinner, and she asked me, she's like, "Oh, have you watched any of the Masters today?" And I said, "Why would you even ask me?" Like, do I watch golf any other time?
Well, is this
she doesn't watch golf either.
Well, do they wear the funny hats during this and all that? Or is that a different?
The Kentucky Derby.
That's just the Kentucky Derby, right?
I think that's just the Kentucky Derby.
I was trying to think of a connection that would be why she would care about the Masters.
You know, so she used to work at ESPNU a long time ago as
Okay.
like they're doing like their social media like a long time ago, and I think that she just met so many like athletes and like so many like people that work in sports that I think that they made the Masters a big deal.
And she came to know the gravity of it, how big of a deal it was to golf fans and sports fans.
And I will say, it is like the Masters are fun to watch at certain times. I know we talked about Tiger in our last episode.
Mm-hmm.
I remember when I was still living in Connecticut. This is, I don't even know, like almost 20 years ago at this point, when Tiger had like that very famous putt, the one that like curved all the way out of nowhere. And,
right.
and it went in and just like sat on the lip. One of the most magical golf moments in the history of the sport, I'm assuming, because I don't know what other magical moments there are.
I would assume so too.
And like that got me into golf for like a little while, but I just couldn't sustain it. And I've been to the Quail Hollow Championship, you know, and I think they've had a tournament here.
That's around here, right? Yeah.
It's not that far from here actually, and I've been to that, you know, 5, 6, 7, 8 times. I
Oh,
don't even
wow.
know.
That's a
It's
lot.
been a lot, and I still can't get into it. I mean, it's fun out there, but I just don't. You know, I try to follow a player here and there, like Anthony Kim or. You know, I think like Phil Mickelson was out there a long time ago when I went, and like, you know, those guys are fun to watch. But I just honestly, there's something about golf that's it's just so boring to me. People think baseball is boring, and then I point them towards golf, and I'm like, come on, dude.
Right. I mean, and you play golf too.
Yeah.
So I mean, I guess I would think if you played golf, it might be interesting. If you don't play golf, you know, I don't really play golf. It's definitely not interesting. Some of the players, yeah, I guess they're still players.
They're still players. Listen, we called Tiger like some sort of mega athlete last week on the episode, so
Right,
you
that's
know,
true.
They're definitely players.
You know, there's a few fun names: Fuzzy Zeller, Chichi Rodriguez, but I think that's from the past. You know, I think I used to watch a couple holes when I was young and bored, but now that there's so much access to everything,
Really showing
golf
your
is
age here.
golf is way I am. Golf is way down the list.
Yeah.
You know, as far as things to tune into, like I can't keep up with everything that's going on. You know, with sports, with Netflix, all the shows I got to watch, with family, with the lawn, everything.
I'm sure it's
so-
like I've heard that it's a really cool thing to attend in person, although the tickets are like hard to get and they're super
Right.
expensive. I mean, I don't know if that's like a bucket list item for me specifically, but it would be pretty cool to go down to Augusta and like watch the Masters one time, even if it's just for like the opening round or something, even a practice round.
I wouldn't want to pay for it.
Right.
But-
And that's the thing is it's Augusta. You're going to have to pay a shitload for
Right.
it, honestly.
So I probably won't end up there
Yeah,
ever.
I probably won't either. But I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how.
Who's,
If I ever make it there, I don't know if I will.
Are there any odds? Not from a betting perspective, but just from like a who's who, like Rory McIlroy. Is he?
I mean, Rory was in the lead last I checked, or he was at least tied for the lead last I checked in Saturday's round.
Okay.
I'm not sure how he's doing today specifically, but again, that's how much I'm paying attention. Is I don't know. And you and I, we gamble. I mean that's kind of something that we'd like to incorporate into the show at some point is that gambling aspect. But I just can't do it with golf. I mean, maybe if I had one of those like free bets that we had in North Carolina a while ago, and it says like where you get like your first bet is free, or you get your money back for that bet if it's wrong or something, or you get like a free $5 bet. Like I would maybe put on like a long shot to finish top 5, but I just don't know anything about it.
So like, what do you? It's like betting on racing. I mean, what do? You bet on the one person.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like I don't bet on the dirt. I know a lot of people bet on horses.
Yeah.
But to me, I'd rather kind of have an array of things to choose from.
Yeah.
As far as that aspect of it.
For two people that really don't give a shit about the Masters, we're spending an awful lot of time on it.
Well, because we got to bring it to the people.
Yeah, it's true. What do you guys think about the Masters? I'm not a big fan, but I mean, I know it's a huge deal. But are there?
Go ahead.
Are there any like fans that are just huge fans where you sit there and you watch, from the first tee on Thursday all the way until the final 18 putt on 18? I know Jimmy Strip Club does. Like his TV is on.
He's that into
fucking
it.
nonstop. I mean, it's on the entire day, every single day. Like it's in the background.
Wow.
It's good like ambient noise.
Sure. I mean, well, so is baseball.
Sometimes,
but yeah, I guess it'd be good to have in the background. You get the nice scenery. You get some, I guess the fits are pretty decent these days. Some cool little snug, but
I feel like my shirt's snug right now.
One thing that I was going to say before is the look of the golfers is way different from back when I was young and bored and watched a little bit of golf to now. I mean, now they're actually athletes. Whereas before, I mean, there was some...
You mean like their physical traits?
Their physical traits are way different.
Yeah.
Which makes sense. I mean, as things evolve and change over time, it can only help you to be in shape.
Yeah, I mean, you look at a guy like Brooks Koepka. Like I don't know if you know what he
I've
looks
heard the
like,
name.
but that's a big dude. Like very broad shoulders, like just like I've never met him in person, but I'm sure that he's probably like 6'1", 6'2", like somewhere in that range, like big shoulders, very wide, and he just looks like he could play a different sport.
It does seem like the type of sport, the type of thing where if you do too much in the weight room, it could hurt you.
Yeah, it could give you back issues like Tiger.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So enough on the Masters, because I don't know who's gonna win it. In all honesty, I don't really even care.
I think it's cool that we don't know shit about golf, yet here we are talking about it. I mean, how many sports shows
all right,
talk about things that they don't know anything about? I think
the other day
cool.
we talked about how NASCAR has the Daytona 500 at the beginning of the season, and it's a weird concept.
Yeah,
that they had at the beginning of the season.
Like the Super Bowl at the beginning.
Super Bowl, right.
Yeah, it's weird.
And they had to implement like a playoff system towards the end of the year. And I feel like golf is very similar with these tennis, I think, is exactly the same as golf, right? Like they have their 4 major tournaments, and like those are the big, Super Bowl events for them. I don't know the standings. I don't know the players. Like I don't really have much invested. I try to watch sometimes like the highlight shows and stuff, and but it just doesn't do anything for me. The only thing that really I care about is Tiger's off the field stuff for some reason.
That's funny. Well, it seems like you brought it up. It seems like it would be cool to have like teams.
They have that now. They have that. They have a.
I know there's like USA
tournament
versus other.
Well, they have an indoor tournament.
Okay.
That Tiger is a part of. Like he I don't know if he owns the league or he's like part owner of the league. But it's some sort of it's basically like what's that place that we go to hit balls?
Top Golf.
Top Golf. It's similar to Top Golf.
Okay.
Except they have I think you're hitting into a screen, and it shows
for this
the distance.
Contest.
Not for the Masters, but they have a tournament like it with PGA players.
And they're hitting into a screen.
They're hitting into a screen, so it shows the distance, and then they have a rotating green that they stand on. And to like that takes basically the shape of what the greens are on the screen, and
they televise this.
Yeah, they're televised. There's like standings for it. Like Tiger's team is from Jupiter, Florida, and he's got like 2 other golfers or 3 other golfers on his team, and then they match up against another team. I can't remember the name of the league right now, but it's an actual indoor golf league.
And that's what he was gearing up for when he got in the accident, right?
I believe so. Yeah.
Because I do remember hearing like Tiger's back or Tiger's going to do this thing or whatever. Yeah. I don't know exactly.
I think that's a league that can take off.
Well, The screen thing is a little bizarre to me. I mean, I'd have to see it, but I do think that the team aspect can definitely add a lot to golf and like as far as just like the moments. You know, it's almost like a 4-person relay at times. You know, just adds a little bit of excitement to it.
Yeah.
You know, like there's a 100 and there's a 4x100. You know, I think it's a little more hype for the 4x1.
Yeah.
In a certain way because it's
Yeah.
a team.
Yeah, it's true. So speaking of things, did you watch the NCAA
Yes.
championship game?
Yes.
Yeah.
A
Which I know
lot
you
of defense. It seemed like there was a lot of defense.
from Michigan. I feel like there was a lot of
Right.
defense, like a ton of it. I mean,
Well, from both sides,
sides,
but
yeah.
especially from Michigan.
I felt like there was a time. So I was texting with two of my my best friends in that live in Connecticut, and they're obviously huge UConn fans also. So we were texting throughout the game, and there was some point when I think they showed a stat that Michigan had maybe like 5 blocks or something at that point, and it felt like Michigan probably had like 63 blocks at that point. I mean, anytime UConn tried to drive the ball inside in the lane, they were getting blocked. I mean not even just lightly. They were getting like rejected where the ball felt like it should go like 70 rows
Right.
into the stands. It was crazy.
It seemed like they could not get a good look, a good shot whenever they tried to penetrate. They were covered by more than one person. It seemed like they couldn't get any sort of rhythm going at all. They would have had to really shoot lights out and kind of work the ball around the perimeter to win that game.
Yeah.
It was a good game plan by Michigan.
It was, and the thing about that game though is that the score ended up being a 5-point game, right? But Michigan from I would say a little bit after halftime. So the halftime the score was fairly close-ish, and then Michigan ended up taking the lead a little bit coming out of the second half, and they ended up teetering on that verge of like being up by about like 8 and like 13 points
Right.
for quite a long time. And every time that you thought that they were going to start pulling away and that they were going to just put the hammer down on UConn with their inside presence and those big men that they had,
Right.
UConn just kept hitting a 3 here and there, or they just made a couple of shots here and there, and they just kept fighting back and giving UConn fans just enough hope. There was a time, I don't know if you watched all the way to the end, but with about 2 minutes to go, UConn ended up cutting that lead down to 2. And then there was a 3-pointer. Like there was it was 4. It was a 4-point lead. Sorry, it was a 4-point lead. UConn got a turnover, and they put up some very weird offensive, strategy going into that one possession where they got the turnover. That ended up being a re-turnover back to Michigan, and then Michigan knocked down a 3 to make it a 7-point game, and
Yeah.
then that was pretty much the game there.
Right.
So
It didn't seem like UConn was. I mean, as you mentioned, they got pretty close at times, but it didn't. It seemed like it was Michigan's game. You know, from the tip. I think there was a putback or some alley-oop or something at the rim where it looked like they were ready to play ball. Their first two points, I noticed that.
Yeah, and UConn's center, Terrace Reed Jr., who I think made himself into a top 5 pick in this tournament specifically. Maybe not top 5, but he'll be in the lottery because of the way that he played specifically in the NCAA tournament. He had a good year, but he had a much better tournament that made him move up, I think, on draft boards.
He was injured, right? Going into the game a little bit, hobbled on some level.
That was Michigan's guy you're talking about.
Okay.
Michigan's guy was hobbled. The guy that was like the Dominican kid.
He's a big.
Yeah,
bigger guy.
he's a big dude
Okay.
for them. He could shoot from inside, outside, but he was hobbled. And he actually played like shit in this game. Tracy Wolfson interviewed him at halftime. He had no points, I think, at halftime, and that kid seems so honest. And he told Tracy, he's like, I'm playing like crap. He's like, I feel like I'm hindering my team from basically winning here.
Well, he's got no points, so I mean,
Yeah,
I guess it's humble, but
Yeah.
it's also just like,
it's very honest.
I mean, it's also obvious.
Dude, you don't really hear that kind of honesty from like sideline reports,
Right.
you know?
But I mean, it's almost like, I mean, it would look really bad if he made excuses for himself.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, with 0 points.
Yeah.
Is Michigan the team where the coach guaranteed that they'd win a championship a year ago or a couple years ago or something like that?
No, that was UConn. That we talked
That
about.
was
That
UConn.
was UConn.
Okay.
Which when I was telling the story in episode 7, so if you guys go back and watch episode 7, Danny Hurley, after the 2020 tournament, I think, or maybe 2021. They got knocked out against Villanova, and he said something to the fact of, like get your shots in now, like take your shots now, because we're coming.
That's even cooler. I like that.
And I know that they won two titles since then, and they were on the verge of winning another one here. But I mean, dude, that like the ominousness. I don't know if that's a real word, but whatever. The omeninity, whatever. But
yeah.
it's such a crazy thing to think about for him to say like just give the rest of the league a warning.
Right.
And then he said, fuck it, like we're gonna execute,
Yeah.
and he executed that to a T. Like Danny Hurley is like beloved in Connecticut.
If only they won, that would have been awesome.
It would have been amazing, especially like being down that much to a team that looked like they were completely overpowering them.
Right.
I mean, in all honesty, I have to say, as a UConn fan, Michigan was the better team. They looked like the better team. They deserved to win their national title. So congratulations to Michigan. They did an amazing job. I mean, that team looked super stacked. Like their inside presence was ridiculous. UConn couldn't. I mentioned this. UConn felt like they couldn't get a shot off inside the paint, but Michigan also wasn't hitting threes either. Like, so they couldn't hit any threes. But what they did is they adjusted and they just dumped the ball in, kept feeding the ball to the big men in the middle, and it worked for them really, really well.
Yeah, it did.
Enough to win a championship.
Yeah.
The one thing you mentioned, defense, a lot of defense, right? UConn does play a good defense, and one thing that Michigan had during the tournament run was that they scored in the 80s or 90s, I believe, in every single game in the tournament.
I think they were the second highest, even after that game. They were the second highest ever.
Yeah.
And, like, the highest was the Running Rebels, I think, with Larry Johnson, maybe?
With LJ and Stacey Augmon
Yeah.
in like 1990.
It was, like, way up there. It was, like, 5 points higher than number 2. But number 2 was Michigan.
I mean, they had a 100-point game in this tournament. They had a 95-point game. I think they were averaging scores in like the 90s for this tournament, and UConn held them to 69 points.
That's pretty good.
Which is very impressive.
If only they were able to, have a complete game plan that would have brought home the victory.
Yeah. So, all right. So, I know we're talking about college basketball here. I want to talk about the pros a little bit, because the end of the regular season in the NBA is coming to an end here. And the playoffs are about to start, so there's still some seeding to be worked out. But one of the big end of season things that has been a big debate, I feel like it's been a big debate on social media specifically. I'm not sure if it's really been a huge debate on like the talking head shows, on like ESPN or Fox or whatever. But I know on social media it's been a big point of contention to talk about the NBA Rookie of the Year race between Kneuppel from Charlotte and Cooper Flagg from Dallas. Ex-teammates, ex-roommates at Duke.
Wow.
Those guys are like best friends.
That's crazy.
And they are neck and neck for the Rookie of the Year. Now, the one thing I'll say is the betting odds were on Kneuppel winning the award up until about maybe like 3 or 4 games ago.
Wow.
And then Cooper Flagg ended up having a 45-point game. And then like a 50-point game.
He's been really balling lately.
He has. And I think he's trying to make a late season push to take the title from Khan. So I was just wondering, like, I know you went to the game a couple of weeks ago against the Sixers, and I'm wondering, I don't know how much Hornets games or how many Hornets games and Mavs games that you've watched, but like who do you think is, like, in your opinion, who do you think is the winner? And don't have a Charlotte bias just because we live here.
I won't. I think Kneuppel has done everything he possibly could to even make this a competition at all. It's really interesting this year, I think, because you have somebody that gets so much play time, and he's like the focus of his team. It's not a very good team either.
Who's that? The Mavericks?
Right.
They have like 20 wins. They're awful.
Right.
They're
So
awful.
I think that kind of takes away from it, the fact that they're such a bad team. On some level, you have to kind of acknowledge it. But he's like a 20-year-old? 19.
Yeah.
He's the focus of their team. He gets a lot of playing time. If you were to think Kneuppel in that same role, I don't think he would be able to live up to that, to what Cooper Flagg is doing. Go ahead.
Okay. That's an interesting point, only for the fact that Kneuppel was drafted by the Hornets for a specific reason to fit a specific role, and he is fulfilling that role completely.
Perfectly.
He is the franchise leader in a single season leader for 3-pointers made in a single season. He surpassed Kemba.
It's amazing.
And I don't know who else. Kemba was the leader, and he surpassed him. The dude has almost 300 3-pointers this year. I mean, that's I know that's still
It's
100
crazy.
off from the all-time record. But I mean, that's like he's approaching like Ray Allen type numbers in
That-
his rookie season.
That's what I think is so interesting about this year, because you have a person that has so much play time. The focus of their offense is like set, like as far as just like the ability, the access to get this distinguished honor is very much in his favor. Kneuppel, though, has, like I said, done everything that he possibly could this year. He has a smaller role, but he is killing it in that role. I don't know where the Hornets would be without him this year.
And so if you really look, if you look at the stats, the actual stats, right? Cooper Flagg leads in all of those, the actual per game statistics, right? And I believe, and I don't have the stats in front of me here, but
Not points per game.
well, he leads him in points per game too. So Cooper Flagg is up by about 2 points per game more.
Right.
So he's averaging about 21 points a game. I think Khan's averaging like 18 or 19, somewhere in that range. He's up on him on boards. He's up on him on assists. However, I know that he's leading him. Cooper is leading Khan in points per game, like game average. But overall total points scored, Khan has him by maybe a 200-point margin or so. And this is going to be my next point
Total
here.
points
The reason for
scored.
that, total points scored, like the actual number of points scored. And the reason for that is because Cooper has only played in like just meeting the minimum number of games that a player has to meet, which is 65, to qualify for postseason or for season end awards. So that's a new rule in the NBA this year. And it prevents basically teams from sitting their best players. So like say like Djokovic, right? Like if he's not hurt but they want to rest him, well, he has to play at least 65 games to be considered in the running for the MVP award.
That's cool. I like that.
I like that rule too. Actually, I think it's pretty smart. It sucks for players that are hurt somewhat minimally.
Right.
But I like the rule in general because say benching players and tanking and doing that kind of stuff has been a big issue in the
I think
NBA.
it'll help more than it'll hurt.
Yeah. So, I mean, I know that Khan has played more games, but he does have more points. And the Hornets are one of the hottest teams in the NBA. They are entrenched in the playoff or the play-in series. They're the 9th seed right now, as of today. And I mean, it's a combination of him and LaMelo and Brandon Miller and Miles Bridges all coming together to play very well together and gel together midway through the season. They were one of the worst teams in the NBA, like they have been for a long time, midway through the season, and then they went on a huge run. But part of that huge run, and the reason for that huge run, is Kneuppel.
Right.
But do you think like that should add some value to his
Definitely.
his rookie of the yearness?
Especially in contrast to how bad the Mavs are. Especially because of that. I definitely think it'll add to it. I think with all these awards, it helps to have a winning team. Like Joe Burrow of the
Bengals.
Yeah, he won the MVP, right?
He won an MVP, I believe. Yeah.
But I mean, I know that was a big point of contention.
Mm-hmm.
He was kind of like an obvious choice, but
Right.
I remember that was like a big thing
Because
against
he put up
him.
numbers,
Right.
Like A-Rod
Right.
winning for the Rangers when they had like 70 wins.
Right. So yeah, I mean, there's that. But the other thing, other than that, because I do think that sticks out, is like the thing that could sway, which way it goes if you kind of consider everything else a wash on some level. The other thing is the play of Cooper Flagg recently. I think the fact that he's doing so well recently might have a big impact on this race.
See, that part bothers me, and I feel like I'm sounding like a Charlotte Hornets homer because I'm a Hornets fan, and I feel like I'm starting to sound like a little bit of a homer because I feel like I'm trying to make my case for why Khan is the deserving version, but I think that Cooper Flagg is only maybe he's being a little bit more selfish in the games that
For
he's
this
playing
award.
so that he has a chance to win this title.
And he more so has the ability to do that, to be more selfish and get the points, get the stats up there. Whereas Kneuppel, if he woke up one day and said, you know what, I'm going to be a little bit more selfish, well, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
Because his role is his role.
Right.
His team needs to win. They need him to continue to just play the way he's been. So it's in that way, I see what you're saying.
That's you're making an interesting point here. I was just thinking while you were saying that, Do you think it has like Khan is? He's not going to be the superstar of that team. LaMelo is the superstar of that team. Brandon Miller is the superstar of that team. Khan is basically a role player.
Right.
And Cooper Flagg is not just the face of the Mavs, but he's going to be potentially the face of the NBA in general, right? I mean, he came out of college with a similar kind of excitement that Wembanyama, why am I saying that weird? I know how to say his name. Victor Wembanyama had. That's not how you say it either.
I think he got it.
Anyways, Wemby when he was coming out and Cooper Flagg when he's coming out, they're calling these guys generational talents.
Right.
And so I'm just wondering if maybe like that sways voters instead of like giving it to a role player, and then maybe them giving it to like the guy that's supposed to get all the accolades, that's supposed to be the face of the NBA.
I think as far as, role versus, I think it depends on that nuanced way that people think about it. It's kind of like that unwritten thing, like if you think about it in terms of who's going to be the best NBA player of these two, that might be the way that some people who are supposed to vote. Yeah. The other thing is some people might vote based on who had the most outstanding year this year, like who defied odds more. I would say that's our guy from Charlotte, Kneuppel.
So the MVP and the Rookie of the Year are two complete. I feel like they should be weighed or measured differently, right? MVP is most valuable player. Mm-hmm. I'm assuming valuable. The word valuable is the key word there because it's the most valuable player that made your team better, right? Like, again, I know we used A-Rod as an example, but I'm not necessarily sure that I know he had the best year that year individually, but I'm not sure if he deserved the MVP because he didn't lead his team to a better record. I mean, maybe that team would have lost like 10 more games if he wasn't on the team.
Right.
But it usually goes to players that are on playoff teams.
Right.
The Rookie of the Year is different because you're not measuring value to the team. You're measuring really just an individual, like your individual talent and how good you are as a player, right? It's not the improvement that your team had because of you. It's just you.
But it's also just this year. Of course, you're only a rookie once. Right. So in my humble opinion, the two ways that I brought up, I don't think that you should look at it who's going to be the better pro. I do think you should look at it in terms of who played the best this year.
So who do you think played the best this year out of those two?
Actually going into the conversation, I was leaning Cooper Flagg, but I'm actually thinking Kneuppel.
I talked you into it?
I think I talked myself into a little bit with the whole Rookie of the Year this year.
I'll take credit for this.
You know what I mean? Okay, you can. That's fine.
I think it's Khan, and again, I think I may have some sort of a bias here, and I'm trying to look at it in more objectively or subjectively or whatever the right word is
like
here.
Like a doctor.
Sure. I'm trying to look at more doctorately. I think Khan has had such a big impact on the Hornets and them becoming a possibly, I know that there was a time when they were going to be the 6th seed at some point, the way that they're moving around, but they're the 9th seed right now, but they're still in the playoff spot. And if you're walking around this city, there is a complete different energy about the Hornets. Now, the problem is that the Hornets are still stuck in exactly where they've been in the last 5 years, which is playing in the play-in game. And not just playing in the play-in game like as a 7 or 8 seed, but they're playing in the lower bracket, right? Mm-hmm. So they have to win 2 games to make the 8 seed. But they did that without Khan.
But now, I mean, there's a lot more depth to the team. There's a lot more, I guess, star power. I mean, it's a team that you can be proud of for sure.
Yeah.
Like I'm proud of my Giants.
Yeah.
Even though we sucked as far as like our record sucked. But I mean, in my opinion, we have a quarterback, we have pieces that are important in the right places, and even though we suck, I can hold my head up high as a Giants fan.
Well, you could see a future.
I can see a future, yes.
Right.
And the Hornets can see a future. Whereas before, one of the players, it was a star. There's like 2 star players, and one of them was getting in trouble for off the court issues and stuff, and Bridges there.
Yeah, right.
And there really wasn't much else. LaMelo was very young. Now LaMelo's
hurt all the time also.
Yeah, and now LaMelo has a couple years on him. He's basically in the prime of his career.
He's only like 23.
Really?
He's like super young.
He's been there like 4 years?
He's like maybe 24.
Wow. So I guess he's entering the prime of his career.
Yeah, he's not even there.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, and because of that, the future is very bright. I think for
All right.
the
So
Hornets.
if we had to make a gambling bet on, I know that you're switching your answer from Cooper to Khan, but like if you were to actually put money on it, who would you put your money on for those two guys?
I think because the Mavericks are really not that good, and the Hornets are good, and I guess the fact that Khan has done everything that he possibly could, I'm gonna go with Khan Kneuppel.
All right. Let's do a little gentleman's bet on this. I want Khan to win, but I'll take the opposite of you. I'm gonna go with Cooper, just because
But you don't even believe in it.
I don't. But I think what he's done in the last few games, I think he's done a really great job of upping his stock in it. So do you want to just do like a, I don't know.
Yeah, if you want. I don't
Do
know
a
why.
bottle of incinerator or whatever. Incinerator. I always call it incinerator.
That's all right.
Whenever they sponsor us one day, I'll get the name right.
Well, it's incinerator and not incinerator because of the cinnamon.
And I thought
So
it was
it's like
because
a
the burn is going down.
two-way pun. Incinerator, it's hot,
interesting.
and cinnamon.
Okay, good
So-
to know. Well, see that you already have a fan. He's been feeding me this shot for like ever since I've known him for almost 20 years at this point.
You and all the boys.
Yeah, it's true.
I love it.
All right, so I'll take Cooper only because I think that his stock has risen, but in my heart of hearts I really want Khan to take that title because I think he deserves it. But I do think that just because of the NBA and the way that it works and the way that they want to glaze him for being the league, the face of the league, I think that he'll take it. I don't think there's gonna be a tie like there was with like Peyton Manning and whoever he split his rookie of the year with. Was it like I want to
Was
say
it
like
a running
Phillip
back?
Rivers or
I feel like it was a different position.
I thought it was two quarterbacks.
Oh, okay.
Peyton
That's
and
so
like
corny.
like Phillip Rivers.
I hate that.
I hate that too. I don't
So
think that's
stupid.
good. Like just decide it.
Yeah, that's stupid.
Yeah. All right. So you're a big Giants fan. We're gonna switch topics here, but you're a huge New York Giants fan, and we have the NFL draft coming up here in a couple of weeks. So
Can't wait.
that's very exciting, obviously, for both of our teams. My Jets have the number 2 pick in the draft, and they have a shitload of picks in general. Your team is up there in the draft also.
5.
You guys are 5, so I'm sure there's a really like straightforward strategy that you guys are probably trying to go with here. But the one surprise that I've kind of heard is Dexter Lawrence asking for a trade for to leave the Giants. Like I thought that is a huge momentum shift for the Giants in general. So, and I know you're a big Giants fan, so I want to get your thoughts on why and some good landing spots and how this impacts the Giants draft and just the Giants in general going into next season with some high expectations that
Right.
the Giants are going in with.
I've been watching Dex for years. He's a lighthearted guy. I honestly can't imagine that he has animosity. I feel like when he signed his contract, he immediately, soon after, other players signed at that same spot, and they jumped him. So he went down, like almost right away. So I think the fact that there's a new regime in, he doesn't really know that coach too well yet. I think, instead of going another year, because there's 2 years left, instead of going another year and then, he gets to know Harbaugh a little bit and then springs that type of thing on him, I think he chose to do it now.
But Harbaugh, when Harbaugh first got hired, he was asked specifically about what Dexter Lawrence means to the team, and John Harbaugh very clearly stated that Dexter Lawrence is going to be a huge part of the defense this year.
Well, he's Dex.
Obviously, he's a great player, but what the hell happened? I know it's a contract thing. Like I know that there's some money stuff involved there, but I mean, the amount of praise that Harbaugh put on Dex was so high that either I thought they were going to work out a contract extension of some sort, or he's such a, like, John Harbaugh is good enough of a coach to talk him into wanting to stay and maybe get like tagged at some point or whatever it is, that he'd want to stay and like he'd want to play for a coach of his caliber that has a chance to take the Giants to, I'm not sure if they're a Super Bowl caliber team, but I mean further than they were before.
Well, I mean, I still think there's a chance that, like Dex does feel that way, that he does feel positive about it.
So you don't think it's irreparable?
No, I think it's business. I think basically he knows that he wants to do this. He saw, like I said, the other contracts went up ahead of him. He's no longer the highest paid D tackle. He probably feels like he still is the best defensive tackle. And I feel like now is basically his shot in order to do that. You know, as there's a regime change, I think he knows that the Giants need him too. You know, he just got glazed from Harbaugh, so he's like, okay, well, you really think so? Let's see how you really feel. The Giants' run defense was shit last year. That's with Dexter Lawrence,
Which is very surprising, right? I mean, they have really like, not, I don't want to say like all-time great defensive players, but they have exceptional defensive
Right.
players. I know we were talking before the show, but like Brian Burns is a fantastic player. I love Brian
Yeah, me
Burns.
too.
Abdul Carter, I know that he maybe at the beginning of his Giants career, he didn't come out and play the way that the Giants expected him to play. And I know he had some disciplinary issues with like showing up to meetings late, a couple of times here and there. But I think maybe John Harbaugh will get the best out of him. And then Kayvon, right? I mean, this and then adding Dexter Lawrence on top of that, like that is, in all honesty, that's a prolific defense, or at least a prolific like front seven.
Yeah, I mean, there's some big names there and like a lot of production. I mean, Burns was awesome last year. We've always had issues with that second D tackle spot, and I think that really matters when your edge guys, as good as they are, they're not really run stuffers. They are pass rushers. You know, when Brian Burns gets in there, knifes in there, when Abdul Carter knifes in there, it's like that's their style of stopping the run. It's not like holding up the edge as well as like a Calais Campbell, as like, I'm trying to think of some good like perimeter guys that are out
Wait,
there.
what'd you say his name was?
Calais Campbell? Isn't that his name?
I thought his name was Calais Campbell. Is that not right? Or am I just?
Are we saying different things?
You said
Is
Camp
it Campbell
Bell.
soup or Campbell
You said
soup?
like Camp Bell.
Campbell.
Like you said both words in
Calais
that Campbell,
Campbell.
Like, out separately, like Camp dash Bell.
Well, Calais Campbell sounds funny to me.
That's his name though.
What if his
Calais
name's
Campbell.
Calais Campbell?
Is it though?
Well, either way,
I've never heard anyone say
he's an older dude.
Campbell is Campbell.
He's old at this point. Old man Campbell.
Okay. Wow.
And so yeah, he's like a great edge type of defender. I think Bosa's better at that. Joey, I don't know. Oh, Nick. Nick is the one I'm thinking
Nick
of.
Bosa's a fantastic
He's
player.
he's great
I love that
at
guy.
holding that edge. He's got a little bit more size to him. Whereas like Burns, he's slenderish. You know, he's not the kind that's going to hold up the edge and maintain his position and allow the linebackers to make plays.
Right, he's like a speed guy that like bursts through a line and goes after the quarterback.
Right.
Yeah.
And so it's a little bit more risky, their style of stopping the run. So I think it kind of lends to bigger plays at times. But I think you just have to scheme that with your defense. You have to know what kind of players you have. You have to kind of anticipate, run versus pass and just not overselling so that you don't end up vulnerable if you guess wrong. And I think with definite edge rushers, they are not run stoppers on the edge. Dex in the middle, he comes off the field at times. Whenever he would come off the field, they would gash us every time, no matter the team. We've had issues with that other D tackle spot for years. We drafted a guy in the third round last year who's also more of a pass rushing D tackle, honestly. There's a guy who was coming out that the 49ers got that I really wanted to get. He's a good run stuffing D tackle. Some of the viewers, 20-something last time, will know who this guy is. If Jack was still in here, he'd know.
He'd know it.
But we need that kind of a guy to go alongside Dex, to really stuff the run. And I know that stuffing the run is paramount to the G-men this year.
Yeah.
Harbaugh said it a few times. I think their free agent grab of the guy from the Bills, well, he was the Bills originally, Edmonds, Terrell Edmonds. I don't know if you knew we got him. I think he's not very agile, but he's fast as hell. He can hit. He's downhill. I like that. And a guy that got hurt last year, McFadden, is also a pretty good player, especially against the run. I'd rather have him be a backup and like a specialist against the run. I mean, there's a chance we get the guy out of Ohio State. Well, one of them, honestly, but the guy in the middle.
Reese?
No, Sonny Styles.
Oh, Sonny Styles. Okay.
Is he from Ohio State? Or was I thinking of? Or is that Arvell Reese?
I think Arvell Reese is the one from Ohio State.
Oh, okay.
I know the Jets are looking at him at 2, so that's.
You talk about Reese or Styles?
Well, they're looking at Reese, but I think Styles is another one that they're looking at also.
Yeah.
I think they
awesome.
brought them both in. But all right, so how do you think that this trade request, and it's only 2 weeks of the draft. So if they don't find a trade partner within the next 2 weeks, how do you think this impacts the draft specifically for the Giants?
I think there's a chance that they could. I mean, I don't know, because they were already, like, the D tackle spot was already high in the list as far as things that we need to do.
Even with
Dex there.
Dex in there.
So I mean, I think if they were to trade him, it would make it more likely that number 2 pick would be a D tackle. I don't see a D tackle being our number 1 pick.
Oh.
Because
Your second, do you guys have multiple picks in the first round or no?
No, just one.
Just one, right? Okay.
Mm-hmm. Just based on the way the board falls, I don't see, like, there's Woods. He's going to go in the first round. He's just further down. There's other players that are a little bit further down. We could trade down and then try to, seek out that D tackle.
Yeah.
But honestly, I think it's going to be, for us, I think it's going to be Styles or Caleb Downs at safety, with also a shot at Jeremiah Love, the back, which I've heard things about. I wouldn't mind making sure that the Skins didn't get. I'm sorry, the Commanders didn't get him.
I think it's okay we call them the Skins. No, but I still don't think even Skins fans love the Commanders name. So.
I don't even think Native Americans love the name change, to be honest.
I don't think so either. We can discuss that later.
Yeah, that's a hot topic.
Yeah, I think that name may come back at some point.
But yeah, if we were to trade him, obviously we would end up with more picks. There would be more emphasis to get a very prolific, higher in the draft, board type player versus, if we were to go Sonny Styles or Downs first and then get a receiver like Concepcion or whatever in the second. That could happen now with Dex on the team. If Dex is off the team, I think maybe that second round pick turns into a D tackle if there's one there that's viable.
If the Giants were to get rid of Dex, what do you think his value is as a return package?
Well, that's actually
there's
a good point,
one in there, I'm sure.
Because we probably would get a 1, so
I'm sure there's a
maybe
1 in
the
there.
other 1 would be a D tackle. I think a first and second. And then
that high, wow, first and a second.
Because
very high.
we're talking about teams that are ready to win now that have later picks.
That's Max Crosby type return.
Oh,
though.
really?
I mean, Max Crosby got 2 1s in return for it.
I mean, he's
I
probably about.
I didn't know he didn't go, but the Ravens gave up 2 1s.
I mean, I think they're both evenly, arguably the best at their position, like at an even rate. You could say Nick Bosa, you could say Quinnen Williams, you could say whatever. You'd say the guy from Tennessee at D tackle. I forget his name. I hate it when I do that on air. But so I think you can make an argument for both that they're the best player at their position. Yeah. I know Dex is coming off a down year. In general, he didn't have the stats, but I think part of that has to do with his contract thing. I think he's been disgruntled on some level for a little bit, and with his contract. Like I said, his contract became very team friendly quick, and.
Do you think it would be worth it for the Giants to trade him away for if they had an option to get a 1 and a 2 like you're thinking? Do you think it's a better option for them to get that 1 and a 2 or hang on to Dex?
If he doesn't want to be there, if he asks for the trade and we can get that, I'd almost say give it to him. Because a 1 and a 2 is a lot. Although it's the back end of the first round. I don't know, man. That's a tough call because he's a hell of a player.
Any landing spot ideas on where he could possibly go if he left?
The Niners pop into my mind right away.
Okay, so you say Niners, and I actually had a thought in my head that that Jerry Jones would make a run at a guy like him to shore up that defense.
You think the Giants would trade him to the Cowboys?
And for the right price, in division trades for that like of this caliber don't happen often.
Right.
But I mean, if the numbers add up, and
Quinn
you
and
get a
Williams
1 or 2,
alongside Dex. Ooh.
like that is a it's. I think it would behoove the Cowboys to explore at least the idea, and to be honest, a team in division, right? So like if the Skins were to get them, or the Eagles were, which they don't necessarily need him, but I mean, I guess everybody could use Dex, but they're not in the market for a guy like him. But the Cowboys always want to make a big splash for a big name player, and I think that they would have to overpay, right? They would have to give up 2 ones,
I'd love it. I would definitely take 2 ones from the Cowboys.
even though they're ones that are towards like the back of the first round.
How far back are they?
Well, they're a playoff team, are they not?
Yeah.
I mean, so that means that they're probably in the 20s
Okay.
somewhere each year, possibly. Especially if you add a guy like Dex, where your defense is going to significantly improve.
I mean, if we draft the right players, I'd say hell yeah. It's
The
just,
Cowboys
you know,
are the ones that came to mind for me.
once you get down there, it's the odds of drafting, like a Hall of Fame type player, a player even close to Dex gets smaller, but it's still the first round.
You think the Niners? You thought the Niners? That was like the team that came to your head?
I feel like they are a team that is a little bit older and they're ready to win now. They got some pieces in place. Fred Warner it's not too long where he's not going to be there anymore, and like where he's not going to be the same. He's not going to be the best defensive player in the league forever.
Right.
So I think they really feel the pressure to strike. Brock Purdy has played well. I think they have confidence that if they get the right players to just kind of add maybe a receiver.
I'm going to digress a little bit because I think you bring up a good question here. Actually, not a good question, just something a good point to talk about. I like the Niners. They're a great team. When I first moved to America, they were the team that I followed. Back in I moved to America in '89. When I first started understanding the NFL a little bit about when I first started learning English about like 90, 91, they were starting to like get better. Jerry Rice was there, Joe Montana was there, and then they transitioned over to Steve Young and T.O. T.O. was my favorite player of all time.
Yeah.
Judge me, don't judge me. I don't care. T.O. is my favorite player of all time. I love that guy. But there's something about Brock Purdy where he gets paid. I know he was Mr. Irrelevant in the draft. There's something about him that the Niners are I think that the Niners are putting a little too much faith in a guy that is maybe like just the equivalent of a Kirk Cousins, where he's not. I don't know if he's
Kirk
good,
Cousins
but I don't know
in
if
his
he's
prime or Kirk Cousins now.
Kirk Cousins in his prime, who's not honestly a Super Bowl. They're not Super Bowl caliber quarterbacks unless you surround them with Super Bowl caliber players. And I know the Niners have done that with Kittle, who's an excellent player. Debo was there before. Christian McCaffrey, obviously one of the greatest running backs that we've ever seen in the history of the league. They've put some really good defensive players around them, like Javarius Ward, Bosa, like you were talking about, Fred Warner. There's some great players out in San Francisco. There's something about that Niners team because of Purdy that no matter who you add to that team, I just don't see them winning one. And I know they were close against the Chiefs a couple of years ago, maybe 2-3 years ago, whenever they played against the Chiefs. And I know it was a close game. I don't know what it is about Brock Purdy that I just don't see as a Super Bowl quarterback.
Well, for me, he showed me something last year. I felt like there were some plays where I felt like he's improving. And the other thing that comes to mind is I feel like he's about as good as Eli was. I think that's about Eli's level.
Damn.
I think they're about the same as far as and I feel like Brock Purdy might have a little bit of it factor in him.
You think Brock has a Hall of Fame trajectory in him?
I think there's a lot of luck in Eli's Hall of Fame trajectory. I think there was a very specific fourth down catch by David Tyree that definitely led to a Super Bowl there for sure. Have you ever sought out Eli Manning on your fantasy teams?
Never.
You were playing fantasy when Eli was playing?
No, and Eli was always on the waiver wire, to be honest.
So, he was never considered to be one of the best quarterbacks in the league ever.
Yeah.
Not even fantasy relevant.
Yeah. There was a lot of 8 years for the Giants, I think, in Eli's career. I know that you guys snuck in when you not snuck in. I can't say snuck in.
It was a wild card team.
But you guys won both your Super Bowls as 6 seeds, right? And that was when the NFL only had 6 in each conference to go in, right? I think you guys both won both of them
I don't
as
know
6
for sure,
seeds.
but
I know
I
one
know
of them
at least one of them was a wild card team.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like Brock Purdy's a good regular season quarterback for numbers, and when it comes to the playoffs, I don't know. Maybe it's not him. Maybe the defense lets him down, or they just running into like a juggernaut that they're going up against. And again, I know that they played in the Super Bowl a couple of years ago. They just weren't better than the Chiefs that year.
I feel like when they signed him to the big contract, I perceived some sort of like hesitancy or something. I don't know exactly what it is.
From the Niners or from him?
Yeah, from the Niners. Like, I felt like it was just a little bit like, I don't know exactly.
Well, dude.
Or it might have been just because I was surprised that they would just go ahead and give him this huge contract. I might just be thinking about my thought process.
Listen, giving that sort of a contract, I think, I kind of agree with you on this. Like, giving a contract to a guy that was a 7th round pick.
Right.
Like, is that? I
The
feel like that's
last
like
pick.
unprecedented.
Right.
You know, like that. When was the last time that happened?
Probably never.
I mean, he's one pick away from being a UDFA.
Right. That's crazy.
You know.
Yeah. I mean, good for him. I think the 49ers were faced with, do we start over or do we let him go? Do we start over and let him go, or do we just hitch our wagon to him?
Yeah.
And they're always like at the back end of the draft. So it'd probably be pretty hard for them to regroup and start over. You know, they got, like we already talked about, Fred Warner's getting up there. I think this is the best of what they can do. And, I mean, what's crazy is they drafted Trey Lance in the same year.
They did.
And they expected him
At
to
number
be the
3.
guy. Yeah.
At number 3 in the
And
draft.
did they move up to get him?
I don't know if they moved up necessarily, but they still took a quarterback
Right.
at number 3.
And then their last pick of that draft ended up being their franchise quarterback.
I mean, that's exactly. I know we talked about Kirk Cousins, and maybe that's the
funny.
comparison right
That's
there.
a
RG3
full
and
circle.
Kirk Cousins. You know?
Interesting.
It's interesting. One other topic that I wanted to talk about that was interesting is the ABS system in Major League Baseball. And I know you and I are big baseball fans. I'm sure the listeners at this point know that we love baseball very much, and we watch it on a regular basis. So I'm going to tell you this quick little thing. So my girlfriend and I and my son, we went to the Charlotte Knights game. That they're the AAA affiliate for the Chicago White Sox. We went to their game Friday night. And I've never seen the ABS system live in person until I saw that. And the amount of times, and I don't know if there's a different rule for minor league baseball for the number of challenges that they can have, but I felt like there was like 30 challenges. It wasn't that many because I wasn't keeping count, but it felt like a lot. And I know Major League Baseball has like a cap at I think 5 per team.
Is it 5?
I think it's
I wasn't sure
5.
what it was. I feel like whenever they talk about it, there's only like 1 left.
But I think it's only because it works the same way as the NFL, right? Like if you lose a certain number of challenges, then you lose. Like if you lose both of your challenges, then you don't get a third one. You just lose timeouts and whatever. And I think maybe in Major League Baseball, I think they have like maybe 3, and then if you win one, if you win them, then you like earn another one or something. But what are your thoughts so far? Listen, the Major League Baseball season is within the first like 15 to 20 games of the season right now. So we're like super early. We're like 1/10 of the way through the season. But what are your early thoughts on the and for those of you guys that don't know what the ABS system is basically it's the automated balls and strikes calls that any catcher or really any player on the field can call. And usually it's the catcher, the pitcher, or the hitter that tap their helmets, and they can get a quick automatic challenge on the screen to show whether it was a ball or a strike. And it's worked a couple of times where it's overturned a strikeout to a walk. But what are your thoughts on how it's going so far?
I'm always a fan of getting the call right. I think that's a good thing, as long as it doesn't take away from the game at a certain level. I kind of feel bad for some of these umps,
It's the umps, yeah,
because their stats are being kept, and
Yeah.
like the umps that I thought were shitty, they definitely are shitty. Like there's this one, Hubie Buckner, maybe.
CB Buckner.
CB Buckner,
CB
man.
Buckner. He's an OG. Man.
I
He's been around
I
for a
thought of
long
him
time.
right off the bat. As soon as I knew that the ABS was coming out, I thought this is not good for him.
Good thing Angel Hernandez fucking retired a
Right.
little early because he would have gotten fired off of the ABS system.
It makes me feel bad for them almost, but I mean the point is to get it right, and the point is to not employ umps that don't call the balls and strikes correctly. I think we need to be, we need to have something that allows it to, get better. And I think honestly, I feel like the umpires will get better because of this system, and their stats, if you will improve over time.
But there was so I'm going to play devil's advocate, and I think that the ABS system is good for Major League Baseball, but I'm going to play devil's advocate here just for a moment. There was always that level of, I don't know, I know that umpires and referees and whatever shouldn't really matter they should be behind the scenes, right? They should never matter into a national championship game against UConn where there's too many fouls called, or the strike zone being bigger or smaller for certain umpires. But I mean, that is a thing that happens in Major League Baseball, right?
Right.
The strike zone, that certain umpires, we've known this for years, certain umpires have specific size strike zones.
And players
Some
become
are a little
accustomed
loose,
to different umpires.
Some are a little tight with their zones, right? They have to adjust based on the player's height. They have to, whether if you're looking at Altuve, who's 5'6", his strike zone is going to be a little smaller because he's a little shorter, so his knee to mid-chest area is smaller than Aaron Judge.
Right.
But there's always just this level of knowing that certain guys call balls and strikes a certain way. Do you think that takes away, the ABS system takes away from some of the fun of that, and pitchers kind of adjusting their pitching styles or game plans, and the catchers from the way that they frame pitches based on that old school way of thinking about it?
I don't necessarily think that was fun.
Oh, you didn't think that was fun?
Not really.
I thought that was kind of interesting always.
It was interesting. In fact,
though.
The commentator for the Giants, that used to be a pitcher, Kruko, I think. I should know that name right off the top.
Not Tim Lincecum.
No, not him. He's their announcer. He's their commentator.
Okay.
He calls the games. He actually goes over the strike zone for every umpire before the game. He likes a what he always gives the outside corner. He's got a low strike zone, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
He always gives little things about them. In fact, he hated Hubie Buckner. What's his name?
CB Buckner.
CB Buckner.
CB.
And he would comment on the.
Hubie Buckner.
Is there a Hubie Buckner somewhere?
There's a Hubie Brown.
Yeah,
who
I
was
know
an
him. The
announcer
coach and
yes,
announcer.
and he was an announcer for the NBA.
Curly hair.
Definitely mixing both of those guys together.
I think so.
All right.
So, I mean, I guess those conversations, those particular things, I mean, even though it's kind of cool to hear him discuss that, because it showed his wares, showed how much he knew about these umps, and it's a part of the game. But it's not really an intended part of the game. Really, I think even though there was some sort of, it made sense for players to kind of know an ump strike zone and all that. It's just another layer of things to pay attention to. There's so many things to pay attention to. They have to pay attention to the pitcher. The pitcher's in the game. The hitter, the pitcher's in the game. For the pitcher, the hitter's in the game. It's not the ump. They're not playing. Yeah. So if there's, even if it added some sort of nostalgic feeling about baseball, I think the goal is to get the calls right and to control the situation for the players on the field.
Yeah.
So I think overall, I think it's a good thing. I think it'll make the umps better, like I said.
You think the system's here to stay?
Yeah, I do.
Do you think there comes a time when there is the umpires behind the home plate umpires don't call balls and strikes anymore at all?
I don't want that to happen. So
I mean,
if you consider the slippery
is a trend
slope,
that's going to lead it that way, though?
I hope not. So I guess that is a thing to be aware of, like the slippery slope. You open that situation up, then it could lead to there. But I would rather it not. I would rather have it be called balls and strikes and just augment the system by which they, how many challenges they have. Make it this many per inning now. Every inning's viable. So if they don't like the way it plays out, they feel like if it's impacting the game where teams are left without any challenges and there's obvious calls there at the end of the game and all game they were able to turn things over. Yeah. I think that might lead to some changes, but I just don't want them to get rid of the umps.
I just think like Rob Manfred's whole mantra for the last few years has been speeding games up, right? Like he's put a runner on second in extra innings. He's made steals a little bit more efficient with widening the bases. He has the how many pickoff attempts you can have at first base. The pitch clock obviously is one of the major ones, but the everything in Major League Baseball is towards efficiency, and I think, like, just from my opinion, I don't know if they necessarily want to go to like a review every time, and I know the review is pretty instant. Actually, a funny little story. So there was a game, and I don't remember what the teams were that were playing because I think that part is irrelevant here. But there was a challenge that happened a few days ago where the home plate umpire. So somebody challenged it. I think it was the catcher. And he called a strike, and the catcher, not the catcher, the hitter, challenged it. Obviously, the hitter would challenge it there, thinking that it was a ball. And the umpire forgot to turn his mic off, and he said, "God, I hope it's a strike." And I'm thinking, like, that right there, like, that is, first of all, it's very embarrassing.
Yeah.
And second, like,
it's revealing.
Like, that tells you that umpires are very worried, I think, about their jobs.
Yeah.
Specifically. Like, please don't count this against my stats, basically.
Yeah.
Like, don't let me have fucked this up. And I think that really, I don't know. I don't know the right wording for it, but I think that really showed me just how scared umpires are in general of the ABS system, and how much more expanded it's going to get. I mean, in all honesty, they can make it a system where you still need a home plate umpire because you need plays at the plate to be judged, right? You need an out called if you need an out, or I don't know. There's other calls besides like an out call,
sure.
Or, a catcher's interference, other things that are needed there. But I think that there's gonna come a time, in my opinion, when the ABS system takes over, because it is so instantaneous. It is.
Right.
It's done so quickly, and I mean, just when you're watching these replays, the replays happen right away, so it's not really adding any time onto the play. So I mean, they could just have like a red and a green light or something behind home plate. And that just tells you what it is, and it puts it up on the board. Yeah,
I mean it'll change the way it feels though, for sure, without having that strike. Like all these umps have different strike calls. Some really get into it. I think. But
that's like aesthetics. That's like
right.
the look and feel of the game.
Right.
Like that's similar to the people having different strike zones. Like that's an aesthetic of the game.
I almost feel like. The runner on second kind of bothers me, honestly. I don't like that one.
Really?
Just because I feel like that impacts stats and outcomes of I just feel like I think it's fair between each team.
It's fair,
but I feel like it impacts numbers on some level.
Yeah.
So
I know the reason why you're saying that. Part of the reason why I think you're saying that is because like you and I love the historical stats of baseball and just the numbers of baseball. Like that's one thing that draws me to
baseball.
It
to stack up over time and not to be able to compare.
Right. And you're talking about like different eras basically at this point. I mean, in all honesty, at this point in Major League Baseball, you're never going to have a 19-inning game. You're not going to have a 15-inning game at this point. I mean, if you go more than 11 these days, like that is an anomaly.
But wasn't that fun? I mean, not for the players, but wasn't it cool to wake up the next morning to hear that there was like a 19-inning game?
Yeah, and like you run out of pitchers, and you've had to start using
the shortstop,
position
backup
players.
Shortstop,
yeah. That was a cause for injuries. Though,
yeah, that's true.
That's
true.
But I did like that fact. I mean, I love the fact that like I can watch a 6-hour baseball game. Like my Mets can be out for 6 hours if if they put their mind to it. So. Yeah. Excuse me.
Well, yeah, I mean, it might end up going to strictly ABS system, but I feel like it would take a fabric of the game out on some level.
Yeah. I think it's a good change. if we want to make sure that we get calls right. I know that in the NFL there's a lot of talk about how much people don't like the video reviews and the replays and the instant replays and all that stuff, and the referees going to the sideline for like 20 fucking minutes to make like one call. This is much more instantaneous, and because of the speed of these calls, I think that is the reason why they may go in that route.
Yeah, it's a lot faster than I thought it was going to be, honestly.
Yeah, they worked it out. I mean, listen. What I like. So this is the difference, I think, with other sports and Major League Baseball implementing rules. They can test this stuff out in the minor leagues without any issues, and they have players that are very, very good players. They understand the rules the same way Major League players do. They play at the same pace. They have this, like, maybe not the same skill level, but they're pretty damn close.
It's professional.
And it's professional.
They're getting paid to do it.
Right. So, the NBA has the G League, so maybe they can test out, certain things there. But I mean, being able to test this in like lower levels when kids are, especially like implementing it when kids are young, 18, 19-year-olds coming out of college and then like working their way up to the majors, and they grow up with these rules.
Yeah.
It makes those rules a little easier, I think, for them.
Yeah, for sure.
Versus, the NFL. I mean, the NFL doesn't have a minor league system. You'd have to do it in the USFL, and players don't play there because of injuries. Right. So, anyways.
I mean, the baseball is definitely always trying to make it more fan-friendly, make it less boring, faster. You have to commend them for that. But it definitely, especially with baseball, it definitely is threading a needle as far as not wanting to take away from the game for some of the older fans. Yeah. Trying to keep it still the same feel, the same vibe. Without it, because you could like really try to make it better for the younger fans, but maybe they don't really care about the changes you made, and then you lost the older fans.
Yeah.
So it's you have to be careful with it.
Yeah.
But I think as long as you are you're going in the same direction as getting the call right, and testing, like you said, as long as you're being careful with it. Yeah. I think however it plays out, it'll be fine.
You just got to be smart with it. That's it. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, thanks for the conversation, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, likewise.
All right. So if you guys want to join in and listen to, or comment on any of the topics that we were talking about, the Rookie of the Year in the NBA conversation, the trade requests of Dexter Lawrence, or the ABS system, or really if you guys want to talk about anything sports related, UConn or Michigan, the Masters, which we all dislike. I don't know if we dislike it, but whatever. But if you guys want to hit us up, leave a comment on the YouTube page at J&R Sports Lounge. If you guys want to find us also on Spotify under J&R Sports Lounge as well. We appreciate you guys tuning in for episode 8. Thanks, and we'll see you guys next time.
J&R Sports Lounge.